What up, G Life? It's your boy MC Shadow back at you with another video. Make sure you guys like, make sure you guys comment, make sure you subscribe to the channel, share if possible, because it does help out my channel. Don't forget to click on the like, the subscribe. You know, it's free, it don't cost anything. You'll be doing my channel a big favor. Don't forget to check out the playlist while the videos, and don't forget to make the video you're looking for a lot easier. Now, what I wanted to talk about was something that I was asked in my live. You know, obviously you guys know I don't talk about drama and you know, gossip and all of that on my channel. But you know, something's been brewing, and I decided to give my 2 cents on the matter. You know what I mean? Whenever there's an angle or like a positive message to it, of course I'm gonna touch on it. You know, it revolves around what Big U said about the knocking out 32 homeboys. Now, is it a big deal? In my opinion, because I could only speak for me, in my opinion, it's not a big deal. You know, about what he said. Do I believe his story? No, I don't. Why don't I believe his story? I mean, if he would have said 5, 8, shit, I'll even give him 10. Even though that's numbers already like out there. At least it's more it's more believable. But 32, even if, you know, he's bigger than these individuals or whatever, though, there's homeboys that are big as well. They're not all short Mexicans who are ripped. Keep this in mind, some of them, you know, do have boxing and you know, fighting skills, you know, under their resume. These guys are just no scrubs. You know what I mean? No lackeys. You get what I mean? You know, despite if you're one of those individuals that be like, oh, Mexicans can't fight or whatever, like let's be realistic. There's white boys that could fight, there's Asians that could fight, there's blacks, Middle Easterns, Hispanics, you know, all of that could fight. To say that one race can't fight it is ridiculous. It's the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. That's why you have you know, some of the greatest boxers of all time of different, you know, races. To say that, you know, a race can't fight or whatever, it is ridiculous, and it's not even realistic, bro. I could only come and spit, bring it real right here, and everything like that. So to say he knocked out 32 homies is, look, I could get it that homies don't like homies and stuff like that. It's cool, you know what I mean? To everybody meets their own. But see, the thing is, the reason I don't have a problem with what Big U said is because I know that story's not true. And if I know that story's not true, then why would I get upset about it? You know what I mean? So I don't. You know the saying that you know, any kind of there's no such thing as bad publicity. Any kind of publicity is good publicity. That's not true, because it damages your character. You know, this kind of publicity now, you know, goes on your jacket. So now people don't believe, you know, what's true and what's not from what you're saying, because you've already been caught lying. That's why I say it's never good to lie, because you caught in a lie, then what else have you lied about? You get what I mean? So then people now start looking at your character and now won't take, you know, chances or your word for it as much as they used to. You know what I mean? So all publicity is not good publicity. You get what I mean? Because it damages your character, and you know, if individuals are willing to trust your word or not. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you noticed, but in this world, trust is kind of a big factor. You know what I mean? When we're talking about like success or moving forward or anything of that manner. You get what I mean? And I have heard it a few times. It's sad, really. You know what I mean? Because people wanting to take this, you know, backwards. You know, like this feud between blacks and Hispanics, because that's what it stirs up, right? Because the reason I wanted to talk about this video is because I wasn't gonna touch on it, you know what I mean? But then I started seeing people in the comments putting all kinds of stupid shit, and you know, so it brews it up. And it's sad that you're willing to brew shit up between two races, and for what? You know what I mean? And for what purpose? For your own bitter points of views? Come on now, you know what I mean? That is ridiculous. You know, because there is no issues between blacks and Hispanics. Is there some homeboys that don't like blacks? Yeah. Is there some blacks that don't like Hispanics? Yeah. You know what I mean? But always keep this in mind. That individual doesn't speak for everybody. You know what I mean? And same goes for the blacks. You know, just because some of them blacks feel like that doesn't mean that all blacks feel like that. You get what I mean? They can only speak for themselves and themselves only. So whenever you hear these people talk, don't try to attack the race, because the race has nothing to do with this. He doesn't speak for the whole entire race. You know what I mean? Just like I don't speak for the whole entire race. I could only speak for myself. You know what I mean? But not all, homies feel that way, and and not all blacks feel the same. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is, because you do have black, homeboys, sureños, Southsiders, despite what individuals want to say. And likewise for them, there is blacks that there is raza that's Crips and Bloods and etc. And you see areas and pockets where homies get along, fine. So to say that there's this beef or that's how they really feel about us is ridiculous. Maybe some of them, you know what I mean, because I've heard a few of them take shots, like Big U, like BG Knockout, when he says that that it's okay for us to snitch, which is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But like I said, for those who believe it, that's on them. You know what I mean? Like, I know what the truth is, so it doesn't bother me. You know what I mean? Whoever believes it can believe what they want. You know what I mean? If that's what makes it, puts their mind at ease, and if that's how what makes them feel like like cool or whatever, by all means, my boy. You know what I mean? But I like to live in the real world where with truths of the matter. So to say that this group is more gangster than that group or whatever, there's no such thing. Every group is gangster. Everybody has riders. Everybody has homies that are down for their shit, that's willing to lay it down for the cause, and all of that. You know what I mean? This notion to think that one group is more solid than the other or downer than the other, that's ridiculous. You know what I mean? In the street world, you already know that there's down motherfuckers that come from all sides. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. You know what I mean? When you grow up in the chaos, you feel like you got nothing. You know what I mean? You're going to lay it all down on the table equally, as much as the next man. From every group. That's why, you have homies in there that are from every races, that are in there for like the most, for putting in real jales. You know what I mean? From Asians to whites to all of it in between. Shit, prisons all over the goddamn world, for that matter. Sad, really, the illness, but it is what it is. You know what I mean? That's how you survive in the streets. You know what I mean? You gotta give that side their dues, because when you don't take them as a factor and you put your guard down, that's where you'll potentially lose your life. You gotta give every side. You gotta look at the floor as like any side could potentially take you down. So you know what I mean? You gotta give everybody that respect, because like I said, when you let your guard up, it's off with your head. And that's the truth of the matter. So to think that like, blacks ain't down, or Hispanics ain't down, or whites ain't down, that is ridiculous. Another man's gonna fucking handle theirs. You know what I mean? If he feels like you're trying to threaten him, you know what I mean? That's the cold hard truth, But for individuals, like the best advice I could give is always keep it in mind when you hear somebody talking reckless, that person doesn't speak for the whole entire group. So just because this individual views it like that, doesn't mean that that they all view it like that, or just because one person's ignorant comments shouldn't be reflected on the whole entire race. You get what I'm saying? And that's what happens a lot of the time whenever you hear like Donald Trump, for example, right? He gave us, he said a few stupid shit, and then people started attacking whites. Why? He doesn't speak for all whites. You know what I mean? All whites don't feel like him. So why are you attacking all whites? You know what I mean? Or just because a Hispanic says something stupid, why are you going to say that we all think like that? He doesn't speak for me. I mean, that motherfucker only speaks for himself. And same with blacks. When you hear a black person say something, you can't blame the whole entire race. You can only blame that individual. Because, you can only speak for yourself in this fucking world. You know what I'm saying? And that's the real talk. So to blame a whole entire race for somebody's comment is the most ignorant thing. Like, that's kind of to say, like, if there's a Mexican out there who says something stupid, you know what I mean? Like something foul or some shit like that, like, oh, what? So just how you blame this individual for saying that on all of them. So I guess you think like that individual over there, then, you know what I mean? Since I guess he must speak for the whole entire race, right? No, exactly. He could only speak for himself. So people can't be attacking the whole entire race. That's ridiculous. Like I said, and the only one who really takes a blow in this is those individuals, who spread lies, because now their character, will be questioned. You know what I mean? Now whatever they say is like, well, is it real? Is it not? That's why it's never good to lie. Despite what kind of publicity it can get you, because it's gonna damage your character. You know what I mean? And that's never good. But yeah, I decided to just to touch on that subject, because I think it's ignorant when people want to insult like entire races just for one individual's dumb statements or whatever. And I'm not talking about Big U in this or whatever. I'm talking about in general. You know what I mean? Big U was just like the concept that gave me the idea to touch on this subject. You know what I mean? Because I do see it happen, a lot. You know what I mean? I do see individuals constantly always make that mistake. And it never made any sense to me. Because to be like, oh yeah, well, the homies don't like blacks, or F these fools, like whatever. Like, fool, you know how many black Southsiders there is? Black Sureños? Like, what are you talking about? Like, shut up, fool. Go educate yourself. You know what I mean? There's all kinds of solid homies that are black that put it down for the suit. You know what I mean? So for you to be saying that, oh, homies don't like, you don't know what you're talking about, fool. You know what I mean? That's ignorance, you know what I mean? At its finest. And it's a trip, because a lot of these hatreds come from nowhere, bro. They literally come from nowhere. If you ask a lot of these individuals why don't they dislike, a certain type of person, they don't even fucking know why. They just say, cuz. Like, cuz what? You know what I mean? Like, that's ridiculous. Another human being is another human being. You know what I mean? No group is better than no group. You know what I mean? Every culture has their chingon shit to it. You know what I mean? Every culture has their, every race has, intelligent people, strong, educated, all of that. You know what I mean? From all over the world. Us as humanity, humans, we're all equal, and we all have our positives to us and our negatives. You know what I mean? Because perfection doesn't exist. So, there is, things that, we make mistakes on, just like every other group. You know what I mean? And there's things that we're good at, just like any other group. You know what I mean? And that's just the way it is. Humanity. That's the best. That's the beautiful thing about, us as humanity, that we all get to bring something to the table from our side. You know what I mean? That makes us, like, chingon, and just sharing that. You know what I mean? Just sharing that, and sharing all the good stuff about it, like, what comes from like our cultures and stuff like that. It's a beautiful thing. You know what I'm saying? But that's just my opinion on the matters. You know what I mean? That when an individual comes to speak, he can only speak for himself and himself only. You know what I mean? He doesn't speak for everybody else. But I'm just saying, Shadow, we out.